It is unlawful for the police to beat you into confessing. However, it is perfectly legal for them to trick you, con you, or sway you in any way they can. That's why interrogation usually does not involve bright lights and rubber hoses. More often than not, the officer sounds sympathetic, or at least businesslike, which can leave you even more vulnerable to manipulation because you feel relieved that the officer isn't being very scary, and you tend to let your guard down. Besides, it's truly difficult to overcome the natural urge to talk one's way out of trouble. That's why it makes so much sense to train yourself to say, I'm going to remain silent. I would like to see a lawyer under any circumstance.